In ancient times, warriors protected themselves with shields made of physical metal. Humans toiled hours a day to dig some of this and some of this out of the ground to buy things, to preserve their wealth, and to improve their families. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in a time where that is still continuing. And if you haven't started, it's not too late, but you better get yourself in gear. Let's go.
One stacker on a journey to find silver. International Stacker.
Hey guys, International Stacker here, and I make videos all about buying gold and silver around the world. Usually I travel, but the hashtag coronavirus, I don't dare say it like audibly on the channel because of YouTube's censorship. And in that same vein, please smash the like button. Please subscribe. 70% of you watching my videos are not subscribed. And let's get into this video where I'm going to show you some shocking stuff that's indisputable. So, you know, people will say I'm a conspiracy theorist in the comments when like the stuff I'm talking about is open source, meaning readily publicly available. My profession's literally traveling the world, helping countries protect and prepare for disasters and respond to. And that being said, I'm going to hydrate and take a sip out of the coldest water canister here. Big shout out. They are sponsoring this video, and I'm going to take a sip. And that is cold water, and their link is in the description below. Check it out. They're giving one away for free. You can enter, and you can also buy some in their store. And if you buy it, I get a kickback, so thank you. Now, let me shock you. I was just making a video talking about inflation. April, the month that just ended. All right, sorry about that. I got a phone call. They never stop. But the Consumer Price Index, otherwise known as CPI, the rise for April from a year earlier, this was the sharpest rise since September of 2008. I just made a video telling you guys how crazy inflation was. It just came out. Oh, I didn't even write it down. It was over 4% inflation just for April. You know, when I've told stories about inflation before, I've talked about over a year period. But the important thing here is inflation can compound and change and increase each month, each day. So that's funny. This is the biggest month for inflation since 2008 on the increase. And what happened in 2008? So if we look here, that's 2009. This is November 2008. That's right. The NASDAQ bottomed. Look down here, the S&P 500. It bottomed a few months later. All right, sorry about that, guys. Got a freaking another call. Okay, so NASDAQ, S&P 500, Dow Jones. So Dow Jones actually, that's 2008, and it had its bottom in 2009. Do you guys remember something called the 2008 crisis when that all started? And this is the sharpest rise in inflation since that time. Sketchy. Well, let's see what the charts look like now. So the top is the NASDAQ, and let me put my light over here more. The top is the NASDAQ. We're here. The bottom is the Dow Jones. We're here. Let's look back at this chart. Huh. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Guys. I don't know what that means, but what I can tell you is that economists surveyed before had previously thought that inflation would be 3.6%, and the official inflation rate, because it's much worse than we know. Inflation is much worse than we know, and I'm going to prove that to you why here in a second. But officially, they thought it was going to be 3.6, and officially they're saying 4. The Federal Reserve officials see the current rises. Oh, and they're saying that this rise in inflation is temporary. Here's one chart that will show you why the rise in inflation is not temporary. In 1913, the buying power of $100 was at $100 worth of goods and services. That's when the Fed was created, and immediately the amount of the buying power in the US dollar started to dramatically decrease. Over here, there's the Wall Street crash, and right here, 1933, right in here somewhere, This is where they made gold illegal. So the government took the gold, except for investment grade gold, by the way, guys. So then it went up, went over. And by investment, I mean like rare coins, not bullion. And then it started to come down here, made the Bretton Woods Agreement, so we became the reserve currency for the world. It was pegged to gold, but the U.S., we started printing way more dollars than we had gold. And so for every ounce of gold, we would print like 10x, right? So it started to fall. Then we had the oil crisis. Somewhere in here, we went off the gold standard all the way over to where we're at. And we're actually here now. So imagine what it looks like now, but what you could buy in with a $100 bill in 1913. In 1933, you could only get $76 worth of stuff with that same $100 bill. In 1953, you could only get $37 worth of stuff with that same $100 bill. In 1973, $22, 1993, $6, 2013, $4, 2019, $3.80 off the original $100 bill is all the equity you had left. And how much you want to bet 2020, 2021, they just printed trillions? I guarantee you it's way worse and going to continue to get worse. So prices for used vehicles rose 10% in April, which is the largest spike since 1953. Are you kidding me? There's job openings are at a record 8.1 million. Nearly 10 million people are officially, So there's 8.1 million jobs open, but 10 million people are officially unemployed. Why is that? Oh, maybe because people can make more currency, more paper currency, which hopefully they're buying gold and silver with, by staying at home, not working. They're getting paid more to stay at home. This is the big discussion on UBI, Universal Basic Income, which a lot of governments in the years past were talking about with automation. They're going to need to give people like an allowance. But all that does is that gives government maximum control. It makes the people lazy, like they're on the island in the story of Odysseus, on there eating the lotus flowers and listening to the sirens. No. We don't want that, folks. So anyways, this is the big test for the UBI. What have we seen in just the past 2 years? We've seen the pandemic of our lifetimes, and whether you think the actions and reactions were warranted or not, it doesn't matter. It still affected our world greatly. It's never going to be the same. And I don't mean you have to walk around wearing a mask. I mean, the economic destruction that started and is coming from this is going to be unprecedented, because this is the first time in world history where all the markets are interconnected around the world with the internet. Previously, 1 or 2 countries or a region would have hardships. It's literally going to be the entire world at the same time. COVID-19, followed by mass civil unrest, which that was the catalyst, folks. I mean, videos, internet videos, and issues with police I'm not going to get into between people and who is right, who is wrong. I'm not going to talk about that. We all have our own opinions on that. But COVID-19 primed the pump for that. People were locked up. People were scared. People were afraid of not having money to feed their families. And there you go. I actually predicted that, but I didn't know that video was going to be the catalyst. What happened after that? The Texas ice storm, where literally people froze in their houses because they weren't prepared. What did we just see? The Colonial Pipeline that was hacked. And what does that show? Like 1/3, almost 1/2 of our state is only fed by one pipeline. And the world just saw the consequences of that. What happened, ladies and gentlemen? People ran to the pumps. They panic bought. They filled up all their gas tanks. They got as much as they could. When did that recently happen? Oh, the great toilet paper wars of COVID-19. Civil unrest, that happened in a different way. People just took stuff for free. Texas ice storm, people couldn't get anywhere to get anything. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be prepared for disasters. I'm going to keep preaching this till I'm blue in the face, because even if just 5% of you listen to me, it can save you and your families. If COVID-19's death rate was higher than the under a percentage, 0.5%, 0.5% to 1%, if that was like 5, 10, 15%, there would literally be bodies in the street. Would you want to go to the store to get food and water for your family and risk actually being exposed to something that deadly and bringing it to your house? Are you going to want to go brave the streets if there's days, weeks, even months of civil unrest? It's happened in the U.S. It's happened around the world. Ice storm, you're snowed in. The roads are unpassable. Do you think people can get to work to sell you the food even if you can get there to get the food? Gas shortage, what happens if you are out of gas? You can't travel far. You're going to walk 10 miles to the convenience store if you're not close to one? Ladies and gentlemen, even the federal government, FEMA, which is under the Department of Homeland Security, CDC, say you should have 1 gallon of water per person per day. They recommend a minimum 2-week supply. Me, I say the minimum you should have of water is a month and build from there. You need to store it in a food-grade water storage container that's FDA approved. Danger. You don't want to have any barrels or any large containers that stored anything that was not food related. You want chemicals or pesticides because that stuff can leach into the containers, leach into your water and poison you. You need to get a fresh, clean, food-grade container, and you need to sanitize it when you get it. And there's liquid you can put in there to preserve the water and help maintain it so you don't have to change it out every 6 months. Water will stay good indefinitely. What makes water not stay good indefinitely is the type of container you put it in and any contaminants that went in when you sealed it. Ideally, you want to store the water between 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to keep it out of direct sunlight, and you do not want to put it in a shed with chemicals because the chemicals can penetrate the container and possibly poison you and your family. Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, everyone says you need emergency food. They say at least 3 days in some places. In some publications, they say up to 3 weeks. My recommendation is a minimum of 1 month food supply for you and your family. You want long shelf life. You want 25 years plus. You want freeze-dried. And if you have freeze-dried food with long shelf life, you're just going to need water to eat that and cook it. Remember that, and rehydrate it. And you want to be well-balanced. You don't want all your emergency food to be tuna cans, and then all you eat is tuna for a year, and then you get mercury poisoning. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need well-balanced food. So, shameless plug, preparewithis.com. The best deal you're going to find on long shelf life, 25-year plus food on the internet. Buy it, put it under your bed, put it in a closet, forget about it. It can save the life of you and your family, not only your direct family, but even your extended. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about protection, which I haven't talked too much about on this channel. But you've got some of this. And again, I do not look at gold and silver like an investment. I look at gold and silver as a hedge against inflation, a way to preserve your buying power and to get your money, your real money, through to the other side. What this represents, ladies and gentlemen, is your hard labor. Your hard labor to get the currency, the fiat paper currency, to put into this. This can literally sit in a closet and preserve your buying power. So although this $100 got inflated, since 1913, back then, if you would have put $100 in gold in a safe and took it out now, it would be worth it would be up here. It would be up here where the dollar's down here, because the point of it is to preserve your buying power. Now, is there a chance to make extra money or currency or to have gains on gold and silver? I think we are in a unique time where that's going to happen, but I want to say I'm not a financial advisor. Disclaimers in the description below, but I think we're in a time in history, folks, where there is going to be extra equity to be made on this. But what's my point? You have this, you have water, you have food. You've got to protect yourself. So one thing I do, whether I'm looking at borders or facilities or whatever it is it's called the layers of defense, okay? There's 3 layers of defense when you're talking on the macro level. There's the outer layer, so that's your perimeter. There's the inner layer, that's everything between your perimeter layer and your key facility layer. So think if your key facility layer is layer 1 and your perimeter is layer 3, perimeter and layer 2 would be anything in between the perimeter and your main infrastructure you're trying to protect, okay? So you look at your perimeter layer first in a residential building. Obviously, that means like a fence. Having a fence with a gate that's locked, that's controlled, maybe a no trespassing sign, or, one thing that's good is to have like a dog sign, like there's dogs, even if you don't have dogs. That can be a deterrent. So when we're talking security, we want to deter, then we want to detect, and we want to defend. So first, we want them to look at your perimeter layer and be like, oh, it's not worth it. It's a gate. It's well protected. Oh, there's freaking dogs. No, thanks. If they're sitting there surveilling you or they decide to go over your first layer of defense, you want to be able to detect them. Easy, cheap ways to do that is on your primary buildings and even outbuildings, you can have spotlights that turn on and illuminate all the way out to Illuminati. He said Illuminati. That illuminate all the way out to the perimeter that light up. Also, guys, cameras are so cheap these days that come right to your phone and put a video on your phone of what's going on. I heavily recommend that for everybody. There are cameras that are not expensive and they will come right to your phone and alert you. They just have to be connected on the internet. Totally worth it, because you can be in your bed and immediately see you're about to be robbed. You can be home at work. When do you think most home invasions happen, ladies and gentlemen? It happens during the daylight when people are gone away at work, so that can help you to protect this. So they get past the perimeter layer. Again, we want to have a good fence. We can put up signs that say warnings for dogs, whatever. And then the middle layer, intermediate between your perimeter layer and your primary asset layer, we have lights that can turn on. Also too, though, in the layer, once they get over your fence, you don't want like a pile of bricks that they could pick up and break your window. You don't want to give them a ladder where they could just like put it on your thing. You know what I mean? You have to have your stuff secured in the middle layer. And then once they get to your house, that's your final layer before they get inside. One of the easiest things to do with your door and door frame, and there's videos on YouTube that show how to do it, you get long case hardened screws, replace the screws of your door and your main and all your door frames. I could literally kick most people's doors open in probably 3 kicks because my freaking calves are the size of tree logs. No, I'm kidding. Any like mill can pretty much kick a door open if it's just the stock screws. Once you put these case hardened screws in, it makes it significantly more challenging, and it buys you time to either call the police, arm yourself, and get ready should something happen. And yes, I do have firearms. I believe in protecting myself and family and my hoard. And this is just a little sample of my hoard. For all of you that have been rolling with me a long time, you know I have over 6,000 ounces of silver and, I don't know, 20 ounces of gold. So I gotta have a way to protect that. So we want to deter them, we want to detect them, cameras, lights, etc., and we want to defend. Whether that's defense, passive defense, like hardening your doors, maybe reevaluating your windows and how those are set up. If you ever like increase your windows so they're hard to break, just make sure they're breakable from the inside in case there's ever a fire, your kids have to evacuate. You need to have a plan if you're going to that extreme, but then you need to have active defenses, I believe, which is firearms, or at least have pepper spray or something. But if folks are in your house, guys, pepper spray is not going to protect you. You need to be ready to protect yourself, because when the police, or when you only have when you only have seconds to survive, police are minutes away. So anyways, I'm going to be coming out with a video soon showing some of my weapons and how I prepare in that way. But I have been hitting this hard in my last few videos, but things just keep happening. And literally, I was telling you all about inflation, and they came out and said the inflation rate's over 4% for the month of April. Hasn't happened since 2008. And ladies and gentlemen, 2008 was the last epic crash. Nothing goes up forever. It's laws of nature. It's laws of physics. What goes up always comes down. And hopefully when it comes down, you have a shield of physical metals to protect you and your family. And where you have that shield, you have emergency food, water, and a way to defend yourself. That's it for me, guys. Sorry for my rant. Let me know in the comments below. Am I out of control? IS, you've gone off the deep end. Why are you warning us? Why are you putting out all these videos? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I can see it as clear as daylight. We're in the most unpredictable times of our lives, and we need to be prepared. And with that, I'm going to take a sip of water, and I'm going to say, catch you on the next one. Woo!
One stacker on a journey.